Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Ghost in Depth. In today's episode, we'll be reviewing the MTS-255 shotgun. I've got some good gameplay for you today. Get off to something of a rough start here on the map Bayview, and I do like the way the Spectrum camo looks on this gun, but I go on a very aggressive spree later on and have an overall excellent game with this weapon. Going to be something of a faster paced, in-depth episode today, so let's get started with the damage. It'll deal 60 damage per shot in close quarters combat and drop off to 13 at a distance. Now when I say per shot, I mean per pellet or per buck or per load or per one of those 8 things that it shoots every single time you pull the trigger. It's got 8 of them in the shell, so it might be more appropriate to look at the total damage, which is 480 to 104 depending on your range. So unlike the FP6 and some of the other shotguns, the MTS will always kill in one shot just so long as you all 8 of your pellets hit. However, that is highly improbable, and that is not something that you will experience often. It's something that can happen, but you won't experience it very often. The slugs have their own in-depth, which I link down in the description, but they're essentially the same as the Bulldog slugs. Overall, not as useful in this weapon due to the rate of fire, but they can be very dangerous if you're going very close range only. And what is more important than the damage on this weapon, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more in depth today, is the range. This weapon has a very critical range component. The maximum range, the range at which your bullets drop off into some sort of black hole and disappear and stop doing damage altogether, is 11 meters. However, what's more important is that it has a very steep damage drop. Some weapons will maintain their maximum for a little bit and then drop down. This one immediately, at 1 meter, at 1 inch in front of your face, will start dropping off of that 16, head down to 13 damage very, very fast. So while the maximum range at which you can get hit markers is not bad at 11 meters for shotguns, the range at which you're actually going to be able to kill people with this weapon is relatively low. I would estimate that your maximum one-shot lethal kill range is probably about half that at 5 or 6 meters. Rate of fire is 285 RPM maximum. This is a semi-automatic or select fire weapon, however you want to say it. Every time you pull the trigger or click the mouse, it shoots once. This is a fast rate of fire for shotguns. 285 is fast for shotguns, but it's slow compared to other weapons like a DMR or a handgun or something like that. And because of this rate of fire, it is very easy to oversample. Every single one of you, even those of you with the worst, bad trigger fingers, can shoot faster than 285 RPM. So if you try to tap it super fast and spam it really hard, you are going to oversample and cause the gun to jam. I would highly recommend that you fire this weapon in a conservative manner in order to maintain a consistent rate of fire. And one of the things that I want to let you know right off the bat, because of the fire rate, because of the damage, and especially because of the damage drop, you are going to get a lot of hit markers with this weapon. I run muzzle brake. If I'm not mistaken, at one point during this video I actually managed to get the Deadeye perk because I'm running Gambler. No matter what you do with this shotgun, you are going to get a lot of hit markers. That's kind of how this gun is designed. That's just something that you are going to experience. And when it comes to recoil, the recoil is fairly high. Now the recoil I'm talking about when we aim down sights and shoot, it kicks up. It's a fairly high recoil. It's right up there with the Bulldog, as this is a similar weapon to the Bulldog. And what's more important than the recoil component is that it has the widest hipfire spread of all the shotguns. And the hipfire spread is something you don't want to be wide. You want it to be very, very tight so you can hipfire and you have the highest probability of hitting people with all your pellets. Unfortunately, this one has by far the widest hipfire spread. It's even wider than the Bulldog, and some of the Bulldog is actually not that bad, but that is definitely a detriment to the MTS-255. You can save yourself some pain and tears when you aim down sights, because that will tighten up your hipfire spread a little bit, or your spread. I guess it's not hipfire anymore. When you aim down sights, for whatever reason, the spread of the pellets that come out of the end of your gun tighten up, and they tighten up, a little bit more than what the hipfire spread would be. If you're running steady aim, the transition or the benefit is not as extreme, but it's still beneficial even when you're running steady aim to aim down sights. And with this shotgun, more than many others, I would recommend that. Aiming down sights and shooting people is going to be a very good tactic anytime that you have the ability to do it. However, the class I'm going to recommend is a high mobility class, and when you aim down sights, you slow down a little bit, so you need to know when to keep your mobility in hipfire and spray, and when to aim down sights and shoot. And the ADS time, like the other shotguns, very fast at 0.2 seconds. Not a whole lot to sweat there. The reload time is 3.1 seconds. You've got a whole chamber, so it's just 3.1 seconds, and that's the time most people are going to cancel reload anyway by sprinting forward. Sleight of hand is going to be preferred. With sleight of hand, it's closer to 1.5 seconds, and I very, very greatly prefer sleight of hand for faster reloads. Otherwise, it's just too slow and you will die. Magazine size is 5, no extended mags, and yes, I know I goofed up the extended mags on the last episode. The FP6 doesn't have them, but it's just a standard calculation that extended mags is 1.5x whatever magazine you have, and I foolishly just ran ran through the in-depth episode and threw that on there, so please do forgive me. My overall evaluation of this gun, good, bad, ugly, whatever, is that it's something of a compromise between the TAC-12 and the Bulldog, but unfortunately it's outclassed by both. And I get a lot of flack for saying this. I don't think it's a bad gun. I don't think it's a terrible gun. I don't think it's a useless gun. I just think that either the Bulldog or the TAC-12 would be better in just about every situation, and that this is outclassed by them. You can still use them. You can still have fun. It's a fun gun. I feel like a cowboy when I'm using it. I just like the way it looks, but it's not really a tactically advantageous weapon. My recommended class is very similar to the previously recommended class. Actually, we're running shotguns, so you'll see quite a lot of overlap here. I like to run red dot sight, muzzle brake, ready up, sleight of hand, marathon and agility, and steady aim. Most of these perks allow me to reload quickly, shoot as far as I possibly can with the tightest spread possible, and sprint all over the map. I like to be very highly mobile and get places that other people can't do, and kind of surprise them with my speed. And one of the ways this game works is the faster you're moving, the more, let's say, advantage you have with the lag. Well guys, that's all for this episode of In Depth. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned something useful. If you'd like to check out the previous episode on the FP6, you can click the box on the left. That'll open a new window. And if you'd like to check out the next episode, that's going to be on field orders, and that'll be live in a couple days. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. And you can check out my sponsor, Elgato, down in the description. And I also have my own app on Android and iOS. You can click on the link down there to go check that out. Drifter out.